Over the years, there's been many successful shows based on movies like MASH and Westworld, with some even going on to be more successful than the movie they're based on, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. However, with the amount of shows being made, it's only natural that some would be either overlooked or forgotten. Here's 5 shows based on movies you may have missed. Starman. Starman was based on the John Carpenter movie from 1984. The series was a sequel of sorts that continued the story from the movie. It's 15 years after the events of the film. This time, the alien clones himself to look like a dead photojournalist, Paul Forrester, instead of Scott Hayden from the movie. He comes back to Earth to find his son, and the two track down Jenny, his missing mother. Right out of the gate, they're on the run from evil government agents who chase the duo every week because they want to stick them in a lab for experiments. While Jeff Bridges played the Starman in the movie, Robert Hayes played the new version for the show. Starman premiered on September 19th, 1986 on ABC. This show is a road trip kind of series, much like the A-Team or the Hulk. Each week they travel to a new location where they find someone who needs help and they use their alien powers to assist them. As the show progressed, Paul was teaching his son how to use his new alien powers for good, and he in turn learns a little bit more about humanity. Towards the end of the season, the father and son find Jenny, who is played by actress Erin Gray. This led up to a season finale cliffhanger that was never resolved because the show was canceled. It ran for 22 episodes, with the last one airing on May 2nd, 1987. The complete series was released on DVD in 2012 by Sony. Unfortunately, it seems the discs were burnt and not pressed, which leads to a lesser quality product. It's nice that it was released at all, but a bummer that they didn't go all the way with them. The show is also available on Tubi and looks quite good there, streaming in DVD quality video. Ferris Bueller. Ferris Bueller is based on the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off from 1986. Since they dropped the day off in the title, the show is about Ferris actually going to school, his friends, and dealing with his family. Much like the movie, the show frequently broke the fourth wall and had Ferris directly addressing the audience. For example, in the pilot, Ferris was complaining about Matthew Broderick playing him in the movie adaptation of his life. The villain in the show was the principal Ed Rooney, who was always trying to catch Ferris doing something wrong, but most of the time he ends up getting outsmarted and does something stupid. The show premiered August 23, 1990. The cast was mostly young unknowns at the time, with Charlie Schlatter as Ferris, Amy Dolenz as Sloane, and Brandon Douglas as Cameron. Richard Reel takes over as Rooney and plays the character in a more silly, bumbling way. The biggest thing to come out of the show was a young pre-nose job Jennifer Aniston, who played Ferris's sister. This was extremely early in her career and was her second TV show. Shortly after this, she starred in the original Leprechaun, and then a mere year later, she went on to do the sitcom Friends, which launched her into superstardom. Aside from the cast, a major change in the show is the location. The movie took place in Chicago, but the show takes place in Santa Monica. They shot 13 episodes, but only ran 12 when it was initially canceled. The 12th episode aired on December 16, 1990. And then, to fill a spot one evening, they ran the 13th episode, August 11, 1991, almost a year after the pilot. Meanwhile, the show that pretty much took its inspiration from the movie, Parker Lewis Can't Lose, ended up being a hit for Fox. It ran for 3 seasons with 73 episodes. As of currently, Ferris Bueller has never been released on DVD, but some nice person uploaded the episodes to YouTube. Blue Thunder. Blue Thunder is based on the movie from 1983. The show revolved around a new team helming the Blue Thunder project. James Ferrantino played more or less the Roy Scheider part, and a young pre-Saturday Night Live Dana Carvey was the Jaffo. The show also had former NFL players Dick Butkus and Bubba Smith. The show premiered on January 6, 1984 on ABC. Some episodes were directed by Guy Magar, who you may remember from my episode on his very underrated film Retribution. As a way to save money, the show frequently recycled stock footage from the movie for use in the series. While the movie ultimately showed that the helicopter surveillance program was bad, the TV show made it out to be good. Every episode had them using the technology to outsmart the various bad guys, usually drug runners or gun runners. There was another helicopter show being developed at the same time for a competing network, CBS, Airwolf, which was loosely inspired by the movie Blue Thunder. Even though the Blue Thunder TV series had the name recognition, Airwolf ended up being one of the most successful shows at the time, and Blue Thunder was canceled before finishing one season. The last episode aired on April 16th, 1984. It only lasted 11 episodes. The series was released on DVD in 2006, but it's long out of print and very expensive. Weird Science. Weird Science is based on the movie from 1985. The movie had Anthony Michael Hall, Ian Mitchell Smith, Kelly LeBrock, and Bill Paxton. The movie also had Robert Downey Jr. in one of his earlier roles. The show had John Asher, Michael Manasari, Vanessa Angel, and Turd Ferguson. Lee Turgeson. The show premiered on March 5th, 1994 on USA Cable Network. The show surprisingly was able to use the song from Oingo Boingo for their intro, which I imagine wasn't cheap to license. The pilot episode was a reboot retelling of the movie, only with Lisa sticking around to help the boys learn how to be cool. In the movie, they were able to take care of themselves by the end, but in the TV show, they needed constant help from Lisa for all the hijinks and shenanigans they frequently stumbled into. The show actually did quite well. It ran for 5 seasons and 88 episodes. The last episode aired on USA Network on April 11th, 1997. The show still had 6 episodes that didn't air due to low ratings in the final season. The Sci-Fi Channel, which was owned by USA, ran the 6 remaining lost episodes in July of 1998. While the show did run for quite a while, it's not as well known because back then, cable still didn't have the numbers of regular television. Consequently, shows were able to stay on the air even with lower viewership. Seasons 1 and 2 of Weird Science were released on DVD in the US in 2008. The complete series was released in Australia, but it wasn't region encoded, so you could watch it on any DVD player. Unfortunately, it's incredibly hard to find. I only found the first 2 seasons on eBay, not the complete series. Some episodes are on YouTube, but they're random. Fast Times. Fast Times was based on the movie Fast Times at Ridgemont High from 1982, which makes this year the 40th anniversary. While most of the main actors were recast, they did manage to get a few of the actors from the movie, namely Vincent Schiavelli, who returned as Mr. Vargas, and Ray Walston was back as Mr. Hand. Patrick Dempsey was Damone, James Nardini was Brad, Courtney Thorne-Smith was Stacy, Claudia Wells was Linda, and Dean Cameron was Spicoli. The show premiered on March 5th, 1986 on CBS. Even though the director of the movie, Amy Heckerling, wrote and directed 3 of the episodes, the show is still a far cry from the quality of the movie. Considering some of the subject matter in the movie, it's no surprise the show failed. Topics like drug and teen pregnancy just wasn't something CBS was willing to delve into. Instead, they made the show a wacky teen-based sitcom. For example, some of the episodes revolved around Brad having to lip-sync at the school talent show, and Spicoli starting a rumor about Mr. Hand losing an eye in World War II. If you were to watch the movie and then watch the show, you'd get tonal whiplash. Critics disliked the show, calling it a lethal stinker that was sanitized into blandness. The show only lasted 7 episodes, with the final one airing on April 23rd, 1986. As far as I can tell, the show's never been released on DVD and isn't available for streaming anywhere. A few episodes are on YouTube, but not all 7. That's another 5 shows. Hope you check some of them out if you're interested. Starman's probably my favorite of this batch. It's an interesting show that I would have enjoyed seeing evolve. Fast Times is worth watching just to see how far they veered from the source material. Anyway, lots more to come. Stay tuned.
Maybe we should go talk to Mr. Vargas.
He doesn't care.
Watch this.
Mr. Vargas, can I dissect Spicoli?
Sure. Just keep it down.
I am not an animal.